All right, we're going to look at the 2.0s for Unit 7. And there's only one 2.0 that's not on this sheet in front of us, which is 7.2.1. Back in Unit 7, we had a formula sheet, so I'm going to show that real quick. We had this, and so 7.2.1 was finding area of shapes similar to these. So maybe a trapezoid, circle, rectangle, triangle, and you have the formulas. So we did really good with that learning target, so that's why it's one of the ones not on here. I think it's more beneficial to go through these 2.0s. They are a little out of order, but I think it'll be helpful to see an example of each one. So we're going to start with 7.2.2, and we have this problem, the area of any regular polygon. So when it says a regular polygon, that means that all of my sides are the same length. So the area of any regular polygon can be calculated based on the following formula, where A is the length of the apothem and P is the perimeter. So we have this formula, and we want to calculate the area and the perimeter of the regular octagon below. So I am going to start with the perimeter because I need it anyways to be able to find my area. So my perimeter of any shape is the distance around an object. So I know it's a little blurry, but it says S equals 6. So I know that all of my side lengths have a length of 6. So if I wanted to, I could write them all in. You don't have to do this, but if it's beneficial, why not? So for my perimeter, I want to add up all of my sides. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sides. Or I could do 8 times 6. Because if I add up 6 8 times, that's the same thing. When I multiply those together, I get my perimeter to be 48. And I don't have units, so we'll just say 48 units. If you type in your calculator 6 plus 6 plus 6 all the way around, you would still get 48. So now we're going to calculate our area. We have area equals 1/2 our apothem times our perimeter. So we keep the 1/2 there. My apothem is this 7.243. So my apothem is from the center of my polygon, and it has to be perpendicular to a side length. So I'm going to plug that number inside parentheses. And then after my apothem, I'm also multiplying by my perimeter, which is 48. So since I'm multiplying all of them, I can type it in my calculator all at once. When I do that, I can do my fraction of 1/2 inside parentheses using a division sign. So I have 1/2 times 7.243 and then times 48. So I typed it exactly how it looks on my paper, just my fraction also should be in parentheses. And I get an area of 173.832, and then my units will be just units squared. Let's look at the next one, so 7.2.5. I'm going to go all the way up here. Given a polygon, identify the sum of the interior and exterior angles. So the exterior angles is the same for any size polygon, so any shape with any number of sides. The sum of my exterior angles is always 360 degrees. For my interior angles, we had a formula where we had 180 times n minus 2, where n is the number of sides. So looking at my shape, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sides. So I can do 180 times 8 minus 2. And when I do that in my calculator, I'm just going to do 180 times 6 because 8 minus 2 is 6. So the sum of my interior angles is 1,080. On the bottom here, I have 7.2.3, which is surface area, so we're going to do the surface area of both. And then 7.2.4 is volume, and we're going to do the volume of both. So these learning targets are kind of mixed together, which is fine. We do need our formulas for that, but we do have our formula sheet for this unit. I have it off to the side here. So I'm going to start with volume actually. So for volume of a rectangular prism, I'm going to look at my formula sheet, which some of you might know this by memory. So this is my rectangular prism. My volume is length times width times height. So here I know that I'm going to run out of room, but I have volume equals length times width times height, and I'm going to plug in those numbers from my picture. So my length is going to be my 8 centimeters, my width is my 6 centimeters, and then my height is 12 centimeters. So I'm just multiplying all three numbers together, 8 times 6 times 12. So I have 8 times 6 times 12. And in my calculator, I got 576. So my volume is 576 centimeters cubed. Oh, that's a little. So volume is cubed because technically I had centimeters times centimeters times centimeters. I had 3 of them, so they're cubed. So for surface area, I'm going to get the formula for that. So I'm still looking at my rectangular prism. So my surface area is equal to capital P times H plus 2 times capital B. So the capital letters are important because they do stand for something. So I'm going to put this off to the side, and I'm going to write my formula here. So I have, well, H is my height, and we know H is 12. I need to figure out capital P and capital B. Capital P is the perimeter of my base. So I'm going to use this part, so the bottom, as my base. I need to find the perimeter of that. When I find the perimeter, I need to add up all 4 sides because the shape of this is a rectangle. So I'm going to add 8 plus 6 plus this side, which is also 8, and then this side over here, which is also 6. So when I add those together, I should get 28. So my perimeter of my base is 28. So I'm going to use that eventually in my formula, but I also want to calculate capital B real quick. So capital B is the area of my base. So my base is a rectangle. To find the area of that rectangle, I do length times width, so 8 times 6. 8 times 6 gives me 48. So now I can go back to my formula for surface area and plug in all the values that I know. So my surface area is equal to my perimeter, which our perimeter was 28, so I'm going to put that here, times my height, and my height is 12. Then I have plus 2 times the area of my base, which we found was 48. Now I can type this whole thing right into my calculator. So I have, it's a little dark there, so I have 28 times 12 plus 2 times 48. So I typed it exactly how it looks. And my surface area ends up being 432 centimeters squared. So I'm just going to make a little note here. So this goes there. Whoops, wrong one. This one goes here, and then my 48 goes there. Oops. All right, we're going to look at the one on the right here. So we have this pyramid, and we need to find our surface area and our volume again. So I'm going to put my formula sheet on this side so we can still kind of see things, which works out because I have my pyramid right there. I'm still going to start with volume because I just multiply my length and my width and my height with 1/3. So volume equals 1/3 length times width times height. So I have 1/3. My length and my width, if I look down here, they're the same. So my length and my width, it doesn't matter which one is which. So I have 3 for my length, 3 for my width, and my height has to be from the peak and it has to be to the center of my base. I don't want my slant height that's different. So my height for this ends up being 5. So I have 1/3 times 3 times 3 times 5. So in my calculator, I want to do my 1/3 inside parentheses, and then my 3, 3, and 5. So I get a volume of 15 yards cubed. Now we're going to look at our surface area. So my surface area, I'm just using the formula here. I'm going to do it up at the top. So I have 1/2 P times S plus B. So P is the perimeter of my base, S is my slant height, and B is the area of my base. So off to the side, I want to figure out what is P and what is B, because I'm also given my slant height already. My slant height is the height that is slanted down one of the faces. So it's down that triangular side there. So the perimeter of my base is a square. So I have 3 plus 3 and then plus 3 plus 3. So 3 plus 3, which gives me 12. The area of my base would be length times width. So 3 times 3, which is 9. Now that I have the perimeter of my base and the area of my base, I can plug those numbers into the correct spots in my surface area formula. So I have 1/2 times 12 times my slant height, that's my capital S, which is 5.2, plus capital B, which we found was 9. So to type that in my calculator, I still want to put my fraction inside parentheses. So there's my 1/2. Then I have times 12 and times 5.2 plus 9. So my surface area of this pyramid is 40.2 yards squared. And that's a little bit for almost all of the 2.0s.